Alright, so this build aims to get some of your less strategic focused friends into Stellaris. I call it the BA machine. And it's a build that focuses around mechanics that were already pretty strong before, but that got even stronger now somehow. There is one key component of this build, and it's energy, literally. This whole build revolves around you having as much energy as possible. Okay, so we start, thus the traits you want to use are superconductive for more energy, and emotional emulator to have less drone dedicated to maintenance and more energy. Right. So one thing that may scare your friend when you start playing the game is Stellaris is a bit overwhelming, but when you start focusing on key elements, it gets much easier. For instance, so for someone discovering Stellaris, the main thing he'll need to know is that Outliner allows him to do various tasks such as exploring more systems, building more ships, and controlling his planets. This is the Outliner, so it's very important. Note that ship actions are mostly done through right-clicking on both system view and galactic view. Then we have the technologies. Essentially every notification that is here must, especially the one that have the orange borders, are very important. So, for technology, basically everything is fine with this build, because at some point you have such output that it doesn't really matter anymore, for new players that is. However, when it comes down to physics, you must always make more energy. Yep. The energy grid, which is a busted building. The capacity subsidies, which is busted as well. You want this as fast as possible. This tech, alongside any text that has this picture, they are mandatory. We'll go more over how to use technology later. Traditions. You can literally take whatever you think is the funniest. Like, except domination. Like, when I started teaching my friends about Stellaris, they all took domination, and it was pretty sad. This tradition tree is still very underwhelming, so avoid it. Yeah, it's pretty underwhelming. Let's be real. Expansion, supremacy, discovery, I usually don't want people to take. Prosperity is good as well. Finally, we get to the trump card of this build, the very reason why you're on this video, because everything that was mentioned before is accessible for any kind of empires, with basically no drawbacks. It's just the game. Except for new players, it's a bit overwhelming, and you have to do something on top of that. It's building your planets and stuff. Except with this build, you can use actually the planet and sector, which apparently got upgraded, but only time will tell if it's a good thing. But as far as I can tell, it's pretty much like it was before. As in, I want energy as a machine, I click production focus, I drop 300 energy in it. Yes, you can drop both energy and minerals, and it will just turn into whatever is needed for your planet. For instance, right now I did that. What's going to happen? Well, nothing. Why is nothing happening, you might think? Well, it's the last thing that a new player will have to check is the pops. When the pops are, when all the jobs are filled, the sector management will not consider making a new district or building in preemptive, which is a bad thing, granted, but you can roll with it, or you can be an impatient guy like me, and you can just do that. And since you have now one deployment, a new generator is on the way. The pros are it allows a new player to better handle economy while still learning the rest of the game and saving huge amount of minerals. Whereas the cons can sometimes go south, despite the clear benefit of using energy for building and requiring synthetic down DLC. In conclusion, like most strategy games, economy is superior to everything, and this will just help players to cope with that fact. Now, regardless of if you actually watch the entire video or if you just jump to this section of the video, I want you to understand that the following is actually quite important, especially for new players, but also for a more experienced one. So here are the tips. So although energy rule with this build, in truth it's alloy research and pop that decide the outcome of a game. Once you have a better craft for the game, try aligning your thought process toward those ends. When it comes down to expansion, especially as machine, it requires alloys. So automation usually handle that part, but if it's too slow, if it doesn't produce enough alloys for you, you can manually add an extra industrial district. Again, where this build shine is in its versatility. If you find yourself lacking energy, you can still demote some pop from the alloy job and put that back into energy. You can also prioritize jobs on the planet, but it requires a bit of juggling with the pops. Once you have several thousands stored in automation system and decent energy output, you can dedicate more of your drones to research labs or more alloy. It's whatever you want. Okay. What about hotkeys, you may ask? Well, this game doesn't sustain a lot of hotkeys, but there's still a couple of them that are very important, namely Shift, Control plus Shift, Q, and B. I just write out on the screen what they do, it's easier to understand this way. There is also F3, which is a market. It's essentially your get out of jail card. You can also access it on the left side of the screen. There is also F9, which is a ship designer. The simple answer to ship designer is bigger equal better. You should also think about not using no retreat. I prefer 8 and 1 when you're done with Supremacy 3. That's why bigger equal better. So for early game defense, starbase with guns or hangar can repel most threats, but be careful, the AI will ignore it if crossing the system doesn't put them in range. Finally, Conquest is a great mean to expand, but unfortunately for your build, robots don't make such a good use of it though, and you may have to exterminate the pops instead of making them work, or having them as batteries. Conquering other robots is fine though. I could go on and on about how you can improve your experience of the game, but sparing you at least for a while, the economy side is bound to make you have more time to learn the rest of the game, such as fleet making, toying with the AI, tech hunting as well, etc. My last recommendation would be to play the game with a friend that already knows how to play it, because this way you can have someone that can help you directly. Don't bully him too hard with his build though, it's very overwhelming when you're not expecting it. So thanks for watching, I will answer any question in the comments, and bye bye.
I'm a bit more complicated than that. The inner machinations of my mind are an enigma.